All right. Good evening, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. It's good to be here again. I'm so excited. I'm so glad to be in your face this evening. This evening here in Nigeria. Um, my name is Kelechi Rabuko, Casey for short, and I'm reaching you all from the city of Abuja, Nigeria, West Africa or Africa. So, welcome to LOVEATHON. This is the 19th day of July, um, 2025. Our third series. Our third series. We have been on a journey. Um, we've been on a journey of this process in the past 3 weeks now, and trust me, it has been very interesting, enlightening, and I know for sure that our lives, our marriages have taken a quantum leap. This evening, we're here again as usual. So I want to welcome every one of you. Please let us start to join. Let us start to share. Let us start to get everyone who is supposed to be here to be here. If you're here already, please, I'd like for you to slide to the DM and start commenting. Where are you joining us from? Where are you joining us from? Just drop a message in the chat box or the chat room. Let us know where you are joining us from. I am joining from Abuja, Nigeria. I don't know about you. Where are you joining us from? Please go to the comment section and let us know where you are joining us from. This is the third series of LOVEATHON. Um, we've gone on a very interesting journey. We had the first weekend, the second weekend, and we are now at the third weekend. Yesterday was explosive. We had their dedoings in the room, and their experiences were very revealing and very impactful. The theme of this weekend is the act of mutual service in marriage, and we were able to learn a lot from the experience. They had a very, very rich conversation with our founders, the founders of Start Your Marriage Right Academy. And trust me, it was really, 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 really enlightening. If for any reason you were not in the room yesterday, you missed that session, I want to encourage you to get the recordings and listen to it. And I know for sure that it will change your life, it will change your marriage. So, yeah, we can see the topics today on the screen already. Um, Dying to self before you say I do. Wow, what a what what a solid expose we are supposed to have today. Dying to self before you say I do. Ah, I know that this is very important, especially for singles. Especially for singles. Dying to self before you say I do. There's a lot of things that you need to know before saying I do. One of the challenges we've had, or we usually have in the world right now in marriages, is that a lot of people get into the institution of marriage without knowing the requirements, without knowing the body structure, without knowing the things that you need to do, how you need to prepare yourself for the institution. And that's why we get into a lot of challenges. This evening, our teachers are doing justice to a very, very important text. eh? dying dying to self before you say I do. That is, you have to submit, you have to let go of all your desires, your wants, because you want to achieve a blissful marriage. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's get everyone who is supposed to be in the room to join us. Join us, join us, join us. This is a very, 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 very important session that you don't want to miss. All the singles, all those who are preparing to get married, I want to remind you. I want you to remind them to be here. Also, there's a very important message I'd like for us to drop. I'd like to drop for us to plan to attend. As you know, our teachers, our mentors in the Start Your Marriage Right Academy have prepared a program that you must not miss as a single. This one is titled Na Dem Go Dey Rush Us. Na Dem Go Dey Rush Us. Na Dem Go Dey Rush Us. Essentially, na dem go dey rush us, or na dem go dey rush you. I mean to say, na dem go dey rush you. That's if you're single. Is a personal harmony program for singles, and it begins on Monday, the 28th of July. Please, you don't want to be anywhere else but this program. If you are a single, I want you to call Ifunaya now. Call Ifunaya now to reserve your seat, to reserve your space. Call her on 080 3555 3839. I'm going to repeat it again. 080 3555 3839. Please call her now and reserve yourself. And guess what? If you're in this room, if you are part of LOVEATHON series that has been going on, there is a special 20% discount for you that is valid for 72 hours. 72 hours. So please, you want to take advantage of that discount and call Ifunaya now so that you can reserve your seat. As you know, these spaces are always taken very, very fast. So please, rush and get into the room. Rush and get prepared for what is ahead. So it's going to be an 8 weeks of coaching classes that will be happening every Saturday between the hours of 7 p.m. Nigerian time and 9 p.m. 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. West African time for 8 weeks, starting on Monday, the 28th of July. Please, you don't want to be anywhere else but in this program for the singles. Yeah, so I'd like to know, are we still joining? Do we have people joining? Welcome. Tell us where you're joining from. Come to the comment section and tell us where you're joining from. Come to the comment section and tell us where you're joining from before we bring up our host to come and do justice to the text this evening. Yesterday was explosive, like I mentioned to you earlier on, and I know the glory of the latter shall be greater than that of the former. So I'm so excited. I'm so happy to be in the room this evening. Yeah. Before I bring them up, I'd like to also pass this information that the program is for singles who are 18 years and above. That is, Na Dem Go Rush You is a program for singles that are 18 years and above. Not for parents, but singles. But parents who enroll their child, if you're a parent here and you're listening to me, if you enroll your child, you will get a free parent hand guidebook to have guided conversations with your children during the 8 weeks program. Did you get that one? If you are a parent and you have somebody who is above 18 years, you can enroll your child for the program, and TeamDinmaNedum will give you a guidebook so that you start to have early conversations with your children during this 8-week program. Now, like I said earlier on, one of the reasons people fail is because they plan to fail. And marriage is an institution that you need to plan for. You need to start having the right conversations. As parents, you need to start preparing your children on what that institution is all about and what they need to do to prepare themselves. So you want to grab that opportunity, call Ifunaya, get booked, reserve a seat. One more time, I'm going to call out her number again. Her phone number is 00 3555 3839. And now, the moment we have been waiting for is here. I would like to introduce to you the ones who have gone before us in the marriage industry. I'm here to introduce to you these people who have added salt. They've added a lot of sauce to the marriage, the family life sector. They are the visionaries for Start Your Marriage Right Academy, and they've recorded numerous progresses. They've aided lives, they've helped marriages, they've helped families, they've helped them, they've guided them to live happily in their marriages. Ladies and gentlemen, without wasting time this evening, let's put our hands together as we make welcome Dima and Nedum as they move this ministry forward. I call them the Indaboski of Start Your Marriage Right Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, come on. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And it's interesting that just as we're coming on, for some reason, the lights just went off. So I'm wondering, is the inverter not ready for us to have this conversation? But you know now, it doesn't matter the challenges.
Yeah.
You are going to still do the work. So thank you, Casey. Thank you so much for the beautiful work you did yesterday and today.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we're going to have a great time again tonight. Thank you so much for being an amazing partner and anchor. All right, people. So yes, we are here again. It is the third Sunday in the month of July and the third in the series for the singles this month. Tonight, we will be discussing yet another important aspect of marriage preparation. Let me remind you that this 22nd wedding anniversary LOVEATHON of my partner in bliss and I, the theme is the soul of marriage, challenging the counterculture of self-interest. And that's why we want to even help singles begin to understand what is the soul of marriage and how do they, begin to articulate it and prepare for it. Marriage is one of the most intimate, enjoyable relationships ever that a human being can be in. But it starts from how you prepare yourself. Many people who want to get married have a list of the things they want in a prospective partner. Oh, if it's a woman, she wants a guy that is tall, dark, God-fearing, rich, and all of that. Loves her, understands her. If it's a man, he wants a woman who is motherly, who is kind, who is submissive, and that.
And brings money.
And brings money. But now, actually, in marriage preparation, you first of all, before you've drawn up any list, and I'm not saying it's not good to have a list of what you want in a person, you want to first of all beam the searchlight on yourself. What am I? Who am I? And what am I bringing? That's why today's topic is very important. Dying to self before you say I do. I remember some years back, I was a guest on the Inside Out show, Agatha Ama show, Inside Out, and we're talking, and I made a metaphor. I said a metaphoric statement. I said only dead people can marry successfully. And one guy in the crowd who was like, you see, this marriage thing is scam. Upon all the suffer in life, you have to die again to marry. But I just understood that he didn't get the concept. So what does it mean to die to self? Such that you are able to now integrate yourself to the soul of marriage. That's what we want to discuss today. Because we're in a world that talks about love being about getting your needs met. People look at marriage these days as, oh, what you have to do so that somebody will love you, how you have to be. But nobody's thinking, how do I prepare myself to be able to share myself with someone? That's what I'm hoping that tonight we and our guests will do justice to it. So let's just move the conversation forward. When you say dying to self, what does it essentially mean? It means embodying the spirit of selflessness. Dying to self is also about you coming into preparing yourself to be able to share your life with someone. Because if you are not ready to share your life with someone, you don't necessarily need to get married. If you want to do life based on your terms, everything the way you want it, how you want your home arranged, how you want to start your day, how you want to live your dreams, how you want to then you are not ready to imbibe the soul of marriage. So dying to self begins from you looking inwards to yourself and saying, who am I? What are my strengths? And what are my weaknesses? What are my flaws? What are my areas that I need to improve on? And dying to self will now be channeling energy to working on those areas of your life. It's not about you saying, that's who I am. Oh, he has to accept me the way I am. She has to love me the way I am. But you, do you love yourself the way you are? Those flaws in your life, if you find it in somebody else, are you going to be tolerant of it? Are you going to accept it in another person? If not, it means that dying to self is you coming and really critically looking at yourself, identifying your areas that may sabotage a life with somebody else and choosing to work on them. That's what dying to self is. Dying to self, it's looking at yourself and asking yourself, if I am coming into a partnership with someone and I am coming with all of this, my self-interests, am I coming to marriage with a win-win situation, a win-win mentality, or am I coming with a win-lose? So it is that dying to self is you embracing a win-win situation, in a win-win mentality for marriage, such that you're not coming waiting and hoping that another person will be there to fulfill all your needs, but you're also there willing to do life with the person. Marriage is a journey of service. However, you don't wait till you get married to start learning how to serve. Dying to self is you recognizing those parts of you that does not submit to serving another person, and now deciding to learn how to serve, because in marriage you'll be required to serve. So even as a single, if you have not imbibed the life of service, dying to self, it's you mellowing down your ego and choosing to start serving now, so that when you get married, you are already somebody that is giving to a life of service. So tonight we'll be challenging that self-centered approach to marriage relationship. But then, drawing from our conversation yesterday when we were talking with couples on the act of mutual service, and our guest made a very profound statement. He said that mutual service is not self-erasure, where you're serving and your being is not present. And I like to bring that to the concept of dying to self, because when you as a single wants to die to self so that you open your heart up to be able to share your life with someone else, it's not about you disappearing. It's not about you losing your individuality. It is about you making room for deeper connection. So dying to self is not about losing your individuality, but making room for deeper connection. Think about it. People know themselves, right? They know their flaws, they know their shortcomings, but they are saying, you know what? Okay, maybe when I get married, my character will change. Or even you are dating someone and there are things that you're noticing, and you say, oh, after the marriage, it will change. Let me bust that bubble. Your character doesn't suddenly disappear after a wedding. In fact, if you are whatever you are not practicing now in singleness, you will struggle to practice it in marriage. So if marriage requires commitment, are you somebody who has a track record of anything that you have ever stayed committed to as a single? If you are not, then you need to die to self and begin to learn how to stay committed. If you are somebody that, oh, your staying power in anything, not even relationship, is so short that you don't have that endurance to stay true to something that you have said you want to stay true to, and you want to get married and enjoy marriage, then dying to self is you building your ability to stay true. So in a nutshell, I'm saying that when you are self-centered, you cannot be mutual partner-centered in marriage. So dying to self is you addressing your self-centeredness so that you are able to build interdependence with some other person when you marry. You need to start it from being single. So if you're single here, you're listening to me, I'm asking you, how are you practicing patience now? How are you practicing flexibility now? How are you practicing service now? If you're not practicing it, marriage will expose you and not fix you. Marriage exposes the parts of you that you have neglected and you are not growing. In marriage, it will expose you. And if then you don't even have the skills to begin to address it, then it can sabotage your marriage and whatever dream marriage that you want. Because people don't suddenly become selfless when they stand in front of the altar. Selflessness begins in singleness. So today we want to explore that. Let me tell you something. Marriage is a classroom for the humble. Marriage is a classroom for the humble. And I see people on social media, everywhere when you interview them, they say, I want to marry and marry right. And that is my wish for all of you here who desire marriage. But you need to check, how much have you died to self? Because if you have not died to self, right now that you are single, marriage will expose you. Are you that kind of person that always insists on your way? You are having a conversation with people. You don't even allow them air the opinion. It must be your own opinion that is taken. You would fight tooth and nail to ensure that it's you. People have boundaries. You don't honor their boundaries. That is an indication that there is still a part of you that still needs to die. There is this thing that they say, oh, marriage will make you selfless. You know, in marriage, you have to serve your partner. You have to serve your family. You have to do that. Marriage does not necessarily make you selfless. Marriage will reveal how selfless you already are. And the beautiful part about it is you do not need to wait to find a partner to begin to prepare yourself to be the person that can make a marriage work. When we talk about marriage, one vital thing that is essential for marriage is submission. Only people who are dead to self can submit. And so if submission is a critical marriage sustainability factor, it means that the sustainability of your marriage, your ability to submit in marriage, is at the mercy of how much of yourself you have died to. Because if you're somebody who is still egocentric, if you are somebody who is still self-absorbed, if you are somebody who is still self-centered, you will struggle with submission. And submission is important for marriage. So if you want to enjoy your marriage, if you want to have mutual submission in your marriage, excuse me, then you need to commit to dying to self. Because what is submission really? Submission is being able to let go of your own interests because of a shared common interest. So if somebody that is egocentric, somebody that is self-centered, you're not going to submit. So tonight, we want to look at what does dying to self really mean? And how can a single begin to practice dying to self even before they get married? As our guests come up, we will be exploring, is humility a weakness or a strength? Because I am on that school of thought that humility is a sign of readiness for marriage. You get that? If marriage is a school for the humble, how humble you are shows how ready you are for marriage. And although modern culture will continue to tell us, oh, be independent, oh, fight for your rights, oh, do that, the soul of marriage is not independence. The soul of marriage is interdependence. And only people who have died to self can build interdependent relationship. Tonight's conversation is very interesting. And I hope that every single here will know why you need to die to self. I will, in a few words, just give some few benefits of that aspect of dying to self. Why is it important in marriage? First of all, one great advantage of dying to self as a single before you get married is that it prepares you to have healthy conflict resolution. Because when you die to self, you are learning to put others, other people's perspective, other people's opinion, and to accept other people's opinion and not only be rigid on yours. And that's what you need for conflict resolution. If you insist on your ways, you can't resolve conflict. So dying to self helps you to prepare for healthy conflict resolution. Dying to self also helps you to deepen connection, because the more selfless you are, the more you can build meaningful, deeper connection with some other person. And of course, dying to self also increases marriage satisfaction, where I'm coming to not just want my partner to meet my needs. I want to also meet his needs. He also wants to meet my needs. So when you see two people who are committed to dying to self, you have seen two people who will enjoy a mutual, committed relationship, because it takes two human beings who forego their individual interests for the sake of the mutual interests to build a formidable, sustainable marriage. I think it's a good time to just hold the conversation here and invite our guests so that we can talk even deeper and hear their perspective on how they too have been dying to self. And as people who are experts in the family life space, what they have noticed about people in marriage preparation who submit themselves to accountability, who submit themselves to working on their gray areas, how it helps them in marriage, compared to those who are so proud, who are conceited, who feel that they're the best thing to their partner and would rather say, you have to accept me for who I am. If you don't love me for, no, you don't force down your inadequacies. You don't force down your weaknesses on another person, down another person's truth in the name of self-acceptance. In fact, choosing not to work on your weaknesses and planning to get married to someone is a sign of irresponsibility. Dying to self is a sign of radical self-responsibility because you're choosing to give the best part of yourself to another person. I'm sure our guest speakers are ready to do justice to this topic with us. I'm going to be inviting them right away. All right. Sorry for that break. Network challenges. Please join me to welcome Pastor Kunle Ibitayo, who will be joining us all the way from the United Arab Emirates. Thank you, sir, for being here. Somebody
Thank
who has dedicated his life to helping singles. Please, Pastor Kunle, remind me of that, your SB name. I know it's a Bible verse.
yes, yeah. Thank you, Coach Dima. Thank you, Coach Nedum, for having me on this call. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, you're audible. Is
Yes.
that PS125? My brain cannot articulate it now.
You are close to it. PS 11:3.
127. I'm not close. So 125 and 11.3, no
No,
near.
at least you have PS. You got PS right.
Yes, if the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous
Righteous
do?
do.
And so
Correct.
he has dedicated his time and passion to ensuring that young people build the right foundations for marriage so that they can actually build sustainable marriage relationship. Thank you, sir, and welcome.
Thank you.
The next person I'm going to be inviting is the lady with the sonorous voice. Maybe today she will sing some verses for us because I like to hear her turn her voice into a message for the people. And so I'm going to be inviting Oluchi Chinonyerem Ibosonu, our sonorous angel, the delightsome haven master, also a soul passionate about helping people do marriage right, particularly communicating effectively and resolving conflicts as opportunities for growth. So one thing I'm really looking forward is Oluchi beaming the searchlight for us tonight. How does dying to self prepare someone to communicate and resolve conflicts well? So thank you for joining us. And I know that we're going to have a deeply rewarding conversation tonight. So let's get right into it. We're in a culture, we're in a society where you come out and people are bombarding people. Oh, singles, you have to choose yourself. Oh, you have to choose yourself. Don't allow anybody do this to you. And so we're now coming again and saying, for you to imbibe the soul of marriage, you need to die to self. So somebody is like, I don't understand. They say I should be independent so that nobody will write me. Now they are telling me to die to self. I would like for you to use your expertise to really clarify How can a single practice dying to self without becoming a doormat and without losing their sense of individuality? Pastor Kunle, you want to start first?
Okay, thank you, Kodima, once again for having me. Thank you, Coach Nedum. And I also want to say congratulations again on your 22nd wedding anniversary. Um,
Thank you.
you are actually my seniors. Amen. we we turned 19 some few months back, so you are 3 years older than us in the business. All right. So, well, going to the question, the situation where people are, they're advocating choosing yourself. So it sounds a bit contradictory if you say you're choosing yourself and yet you are talking about dying to self. But in the real sense of it, you know, choosing yourself or choosing themselves, as the case may be, is actually about the system itself. It's actually about the marriage itself. That means when you choose yourself, you are choosing, you are bringing somebody that is not defective into that marriage. You are bringing a whole you into that marriage. So choosing yourself is about being ready for what you want to do. So it's like you want to take up a job, for example. Of course, you'll be going for an interview. You need to know your onions if you are going to be the right candidate for that job. So choosing yourself is about getting yourself ready for what is in there. So you are not taking a defective you into that union. You are not taking a you that is not complete, that is not whole into that union. So you are making yourself, you are working on yourself practically. It's about you working on yourself and ensuring that you are fit for that union, for that marriage. So it's about getting educated, the right education. When I say education, I'm not particularly talking about formal education here. I'm talking about getting the necessary information, getting necessary education as far as marriage is concerned. Somebody may have a PhD and yet is a novice as far as marriage is concerned. Maybe the person he has never attended any seminar on marriage. He has never read any book on marriage. All the thing he knows or that person knows is about a discipline. Maybe for example, somebody got a PhD in mathematics, for example. You are going to be a good mathematician, but that does not mean you are going to be a good partner in marriage. So getting the right education, being attractive, being the desirable that is what makes you to choose yourself. So you are whole, you are complete. Now the people talk about what are you bringing to the table. Now if you actually choose yourself, you are bringing a complete human being. To a reasonable extent. Of course, we are all work in progress. Nobody is perfect. But then you are bringing the desirable you, somebody that somebody would desire, you know, into that marriage. And that is what in my own understanding, that is what choosing yourself actually means. It's not about choosing yourself to become selfish. It's not about choosing yourself to lord yourself over your spouse. It's not about choosing yourself so that it is what you want that will stand. It's about choosing yourself and become whole, be ready, be educated, be attractive, be desirable for that person that you are going to do life with eventually. Thank you.
Wow.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. So, Oluchi, what's your take on this? Because I hear Pastor Kunle saying choosing yourself is not you not dying to self. You're literally saying that when you're choosing yourself, elements of dying to self is also part of it, because now choosing yourself is you preparing yourself, who you are, and all of that for your partner, not necessarily coming to not be a partner with someone else. So let's hear Oluchi's perspective on this. Oluchi, can you hear us?
I can't hear her.
I can't hear her either. No, would you rather speak without the external device? Because we can't hear you at all. So,
I should call him God and covenant.
no, maybe speak directly. Don't use the headset. Sometimes headsets
Yeah,
do
you may
not
just have to
give
disconnect it.
a experience. So disconnect from the headset and speak directly. You're muted right now. You muted yourself right now.
Can, can
So
you hear
once
me?
we wait, yes, we
Yes,
can hear
yes,
you.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right then.
Yeah.
Okay. So my take on this really, as I see young people prepare for the institution of marriage, it looks like people have forgotten that singleness is not a waiting room. It is a workshop. It's a place to get yourself prepared. So you're finding people who are ready or who want to be in relationships, but don't want to go along and do the preparations required for the journey ahead. And I say required, where we go in and maybe even if we go to school or if you want to become an artisan, there are years of preparation, years of learning. And then I wonder why people come into the relationship scene and are not prepared to get the required preparation. And so for me, dying to self before you say I do literally talks about self-awareness. Do you know who you are? And I like to start by saying, what are your defaults? What is your default setting? Because who I am today is not from the blues. There is a nurturing that brought me to who I am today. And so it's wired in my personality. It's wired in the way I love to do life and do things. It's wired in the way I interpret the things that come through my path. What is my default setting? Have I discovered myself well enough to know what my default settings are? What are the things that trigger me? What are the things that have wounded me along life's journey? And so as I continue to stay with this topic, dying to self begins before you say I do, I chose to look at it as, like I said, what is your default setting? Have you discovered it? Who are you? If somebody met you beyond your name, who are you? Do you know what flips you? Do you know the things that have wounded you in the past? And are you choosing to intentionally call them out and heal from them so that you can embrace a journey of relationship with humility? And humility is not becoming a doormat. Humility is actually strength under control, where you can actually define yourself, what is allowable in your space, and yet understanding that we are made for connection. So I am ready to make the compromises. I'm ready to give in to another person and to engage relationship from a perspective of empathy. That's where I would answer that, or how I would answer that for now. But like I said, singleness is not a waiting room. It is a workshop. It is a place where you discover who you are before you actually begin to engage with another person to do life with them.
Amazing, amazing. I think I like that. You want to say something, sweetheart?
Yeah, choosing yourself and being selfless without being a doormat could also be that you are going out of your way to serve, to build, to help the person you are in a relation with, but you also must set boundaries about what you should not do. So, for example, you are in a relationship with a person and the person is in a financial challenge or difficulty, and you want to help that person with a certain kind of amount, so maybe 50,000, but that person is making you to give out 2 million naira.
Mm.
No matter how desperate that problem is, you must say, in a relationship with a person, I'm intended to build something meaningful. I am not going to be emotionally entangled to give what I can afford at that stage of that relationship. And so, no matter how that person is trying to coerce you, there is a boundary of what you cannot do. Yes, you want to serve the person, you want to help the person, but you will not kill yourself where you'll be hurt because you want to be selfless. So you must have to an extent how you must also protect yourself. Because every relationship and every stage you are, there are things you must not do because you are not yet in that marriage. So it is a process. Then another one also, without being a doormat, also you are protecting yourself. You are giving your own self-care. So you are in a relationship and somebody is not willing to reconcile with you. You are putting all the necessary measures to get back to talking stage to make it move. And the person is not picking your call. The person is not willing to communicate with you. You don't go and start dying and beginning to think your life is finished. Perhaps that may also be the time to give the person space and to now realize your own self-worth and your self-esteem and willing to say, if even though it doesn't work, I will be okay. So I'm adding that in being selfless does not mean you are going to be totally without a brain, without the consciousness of thinking that you are also important to that relationship. And lastly, even in being selfless and not being a doormat, you must also be able to communicate your own needs in that relationship. So it must be to an extent very reciprocative in nature. It's not going to mean that you are going to be uncontrollable because you love blindly. Your eyes will also be open to say the things that you also think should are the things you also need in that relationship. That's just what I want to add to what they already said.
All right. I like it. Oluchi said something that was spot on. She said dying to self is self-awareness because you need to understand yourself to now know the things you need to kill. Because if we say dying, not to dying is death now. So something has to be taken away. But you don't know what to take away if you don't know what is already there. And it was also nice to hear that singleness is not a waiting room, it's a workshop. That is great. Okay, so let's move this on. And Oluchi, you didn't tell us how many years you senior us.
I saw senior now.
You are coming up. You're coming up. I hope you'll catch up in another 4 years.
4 or 3?
No, we can't. There's no catching up.
We're
Everybody go
26
go.
this year. We're
You
26
go
this
go
year.
your journey. You go your journey. We go they come. There's no catching up because we cannot catch up. We cannot catch up. All right. So let's look at this as someone who is married, right? And perhaps all this concept of dying to self. What are some, for a single who is listening to us and is saying, I really want to make, when I get married, I really want my marriage to work. I really want to imbibe the soul of marriage. I don't want to come into marriage and I'm self-centered and it's all about me. But right now, as the single, you want to share some of the either spiritual or emotional muscles that you think that single needs to begin strengthening now, such that they can prepare themselves for mutual service. It's almost like I'm asking you, with the benefit of hindsight, now that you're married, what are some of the things you wish you did as a single to strengthen, or either you wish you did or you did to strengthen your spiritual and emotional muscle for mutual service, such that a single listening can take this and run with it? What would that be for you, Oluchi?
Okay. You see, I'm big on self-awareness, and this is because while we want to die to self, what you want to kill is the ego, and then you want to know yourself, have a sense of identity. And knowing myself was one thing that helped me in being able to make a choice of who to do life with. I am one who is strong, opinionated. I know what I want, I know where I want to go, and I know how I want to go about it. And it was deeply concerning for me, particularly when I saw the doormat phrase in the story, that I do not get into a relationship where I'm relegated to the background. Because I have a voice, I have an opinion, and I have a perspective. Being able to understand that about me, it helped my engagements in relationships. And when I saw that there's a young man who does not think that I have a perspective or an opinion and that I'm just a woman to be seen and not heard, that for me was a red flag and it was a no-no. And so my question becomes, to the young people listening to me tonight, do you know yourself well enough to know what is allowable in your space? Knowing my kind of person, I want to be loved and loved really deeply, but I do not want to be choked in love. I want to drop pride, but I want to pursue purpose. So that I come into a relationship does not mean that I lose who I am entirely. It's that I'm able to share unashamedly where I'm coming from, where I hope to be going to, what scars I have, what scandals may have happened, and in the process be embraced in totality and held on that journey as we do life together. But many people don't even know that yet. And so they are settling for maybe attracting their wounds, so to say, somebody who is able to accommodate something in their space and not looking into the future that they have to build. It's important that you know yourself. Self-awareness is a big deal.
Okay, so what I take from what you said is that the single should commit themselves to self-awareness so that
Yes,
when they know themselves, they know what to choose and what not to choose, right?
yes, yes.
Fantastic. Pastor Kule, what would that be for you?
Okay, so we're talking about the spiritual or emotional muscle that a single is supposed to, work on while they prepare for marriage. Well, yeah, for the truth is we need to understand that, of course, we are tripartite human beings. We are spirits, we have a soul, we live in a body. So talking about the emotional and the spiritual muscle, the most of the time we people talk about the aspect of the body. They do a lot of things with the body. They want to be in good shape, they want to have a fantastic look, they want to, but whereas the other aspect, the emotion, which has to do with the soul, and the spiritual aspect is also very, very key. So when we talk about the spiritual muscles to build, it's like somebody that you want to take a particular, for example, as a footballer, there are certain diets that you must, take. There's a particular level of exercise that you must do, in terms of fitness. So talking about the spiritual aspect, I will talk about forgiveness, for example. Forgiveness is a spiritual thing. You can't go into marriage without building that aspect of you, because certainly the person that you're going to work with, person you're going to do life with, at some point may offend you. So what
Oh,
is it
yeah.
about forgiveness with you? What is your interpretation of forgiveness? Are you the type that will keep record for as long as you have a diary of all the wrongs that your partner, is going to do for you? So spiritually, forgiveness is there. And sometimes I hear things like, I want to marry a spouse that is a prayer champion, talking about spiritual aspect. Now, are you a prayer loser? You also must be there. You also pray. So we are talking about complementing each other. So it is about shifting from what can I get to how can I, make us grow together. So the orientation should change. That is about as far as I mean, you can start mentioning a whole lot of them, but basically, you must be able to forgive. Is a spiritual thing. Then talking about the emotional aspect of it, the partnership mindset must be there. You must have a partnership mindset, not a dependent mindset. I'm going into this relationship as a partner, not as a dependent. Then we talk about emotional intelligence. That is also very, very key. For you to go into that marriage, the emotional muscle you need to build is you must have emotional intelligence to know how to relate, to know how to, I mean, basically about empathy, basically about having feeling for the other person, putting yourself in the shoes of your partner. You know, you said something earlier about some people coming in with the mind that way, it is my way and it has to be my way. No, you should have it because you are coming into a relation with somebody, with another human being. You know, so all of these things are supposed to be in place if that journey is going to be smooth. So as a single person, the focus shouldn't be on your look alone. Your look, fantastic. You need to look good, you know. But then, how do you take care of the spiritual aspect? How do you take care of the emotional aspect, considering the fact that we are spirit, we live in a body, and we have a soul? So every faculty must be taken care of. We shouldn't focus on one at the detriment of the other part of you, because that is what makes you a whole human being. So my counsel to any single out there is they give attention to emotional intelligence. They have a mindset, have a shift of idea as far as marriage is concerned, because some people have some notions, that they are just unrealistic, so, and that is going to be my submission.
You have things to add?
Okay, I want to add just to the first one would be I want to say about being held accountable. When you are single, you really don't have you want to do things your own way, how you plan it, when you plan it. So in order to prepare to have mutual selfless relationship, you have to begin to think you'll be held accountable. You do not only lose exclusively your right to do what you like, you can be questioned about what you are agreed to, where you are going, why you are doing things. You should be able to open to the idea that you can be questioned even when you are right, and willing to agree to be disagreed even when you think you are doing the right thing. So that ability to open up your mind, that reality and acceptance is very, very important, because when you come into the relationship and questions come and is thrown to you, you will like, who dare you? I need my space. I can do what I like. Then you are not ready. So you will be able to open that. Then last is second ability to compromise.
It appears that we may be having a network glitch with TeamDinmaNedum, but we'll
Yeah.
keep the conversations going. And so I want to say to any single that is listening here, if you do not die well in singleness, you will fight dirty in marriage. And like we said, dying to self requires that you drop the ego. Dying to self requires that you're saying you know yourself, you know where you're going, but that you are prepared to be accountable. It's not a journey with yourself, it's a journey with another. And so while marriage is not asking for perfect people, it's asking for prepared people. Are you prepared for that journey? Repeatedly, I say to my youngsters, I say to them, true freedom is in accountability. Every time we refuse to be accountable, we make a mess of our lives. We don't get to see our blind spots, and so we do not even know what we're doing wrong. But when we stay accountable in any relationship, even from when you are single, it becomes a natural for you to swing in that direction when you are doing life with another. Welcome, TeamDinmaNedum. We were just holding brief for you. Do we have you back?
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes, we
Yes, we
can.
can hear you.
Fantastic. I like that your closing statement. True freedom is in accountability. And so we've said lots of things, forgiveness, very key, emotional intelligence, accountability, compromise. I like to add that when you do the self-aware, Oluchi encouraged that the single should be intentional about self-awareness so that they know what to invite and what not to. I will also add that for that single, please don't be just consumed with acquiring furthering your education, building a business, growing your career, as if just the ability to provide money or to be independent is what marriage requires. I would say, because when you do the self-awareness and you identify those areas, sometimes people are even, I don't know the area I need to grow. Talk to the people in your life. Be mindful of the things that people say. I remember as a young adolescent, I never liked being in the kitchen. And then even the times I'm forced to be there, my mother would say, is this what you're going to cook? And I don't know, for some reason, she kept scaring me with your mother-in-law. If your mother-in-law eats this food, she would say, this is me 13 years, 14 years, 15 years. And somehow that story of not knowing how to cook was building in my head. And what did I do? First of all, I made it a prayer point. Like literally having conversation with the Holy Spirit and saying, teach me how to cook, teach me how to cook, teach me how to cook. And then make the efforts to cook, even they will batch the cooking and all of that. So it's not enough to know the areas that you're struggling in or the areas that the people in your life talk about. You have to do small steps. My young gentleman here had to, after identifying his area of growth, because of how life has been with him, he's so much into himself. He decided as a single to get a puppy so that he can learn to care for something outside of himself to make room for caring for another person. So that's just what I'm going to add to the conversation. Take little action steps to improve those areas of growth that you have identified. Don't make somebody's son come and carry you and now carry you and your wahala. Or you don't be the man that will say, I'm a pride of the nation. Any woman that marries me should be happy she has a man. No, come as a man, like the God that you are. Don't come to the relationship with your flaws and expect that the woman should just take you on because you are the best thing after jollof rice. Make efforts to improve on your weaknesses. Okay, so I know that we have people who are self-blind. Like, how people, there are some parts of ourselves that we know, there are some parts we don't know, there are some parts that are hidden. So imagine that a single is listening and the person is like, I'm not self-centered though. I'm not self-absorbed though. Can you identify some red flags that a single person can see and know that they are operating from a self-centered position? What are some of the red flags? Let's leave the partner, me, myself. What are the things that a single will see in their lives and know it's like I'm a self-centered person, though. I need to work on this. Tell us some of those red flags. Pastor Kunle.
All right, thank you. I'm sure that kind of question is for somebody that's actually going to be objective, because the truth is everybody is right in their own eyes, But then talking about, somebody that is ready to be objective, that ready to do what is needed in that kind of relationship. Sometimes you see unconsciously people, they are domineering in the name of protecting themselves. You're having a conversation and you discover that at every point in time you must win every argument. Your voice, you must be the last person to speak. Your opinion everybody must respect. As a matter of fact, the day your spouse or somebody around you does not agree with you with what you have said, that's a bad day for you as an individual, then such an individual should know that, there's fire on the mountain. You know, you always have invested interest in everything. You know, there are things that you are not indifferent about. Oh, we lost them again.
Just go on, sir.
All right. So there are things that you are just, you are not indifferent about anything. Every conversation you have an idea, you have an opinion. Somebody's asking you, okay, what do you think about this? You have something to say, and that thing that you're saying must stand. There are times you find yourself in a situation where you are just indifferent. Okay, what do you think? What do you think? Okay, let's just agree. Let's have a compromise. But then you see yourself that you have an idea and everything. Your opinion must stand. What you have said is what everybody must abide with. And you see that you're welcome back. You see that you are also, we said something about accountability earlier. You are avoiding accountability. You know it. For example, when it comes to maybe money, for example, it's my money, it's my money. I can spend it the way I like. At every instance, you are the type that want to shift blame. Everybody around you is wrong except you. You are never wrong. So that's a red flag for you to know that, well, because you can't, nobody is perfect. You can't be always right. And even while you think that you are right, do you even bother to ask somebody, what is your opinion about this? This is what I'm thinking. What's your take? Because you are saying something from a particular side, the other person may have a better perspective. But when you don't give room for somebody else to come into your space, you don't allow somebody else to say whatever it is that they have to say, then it's a red flag. And I also want to talk about people that are you maybe you are the type that overcrowds your spouse, the person that you are dating. You try to isolate them. Either way, you try to isolate them from family and friends. They must be with you at every point in time. Who are you talking to? What are you doing? You have this sense of entitlement that the person must always be there for you. So that's a red flag for you. That's something that you need to give attention to. That is not just normal. It's just, you shouldn't hide under the cloak of that is me, that is who I am. No, you shouldn't be that way. If you are going to be objective, you sit down and all of those things, let that you sit in front of you and interview you and x-ray you the way you are, then you'll be able to tell yourself the truth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So I hear being highly opinionated, not taking responsibility, having an entitlement mentality, and also alienating or isolating the loved ones in your life to yourself. Madam Oluchi, talk to us. What has bless you? What are some of the red flags that would make a single person know that they are perhaps operating from a self-centered posture?
When one is not teachable, because this life, no matter where you have gotten to, we don't all know it all. There's no one person who knows it all. If somebody is not teachable, there is a problem. Because along life's journey, there'll be a lot of things to learn, unlearn, and relearn, if you ask me. The other thing will be when one is not ready to be vulnerable.
Mm,
Because to walk into the marriage scene, you need to come to the place of vulnerability. So if every time you come into speaking about something that brings one into a vulnerable moment and they deflect, there is a problem. The other one for me is when someone struggles to consider the other person's needs, except it has to benefit you. There is a problem because you can't do life that way. If it will
Mm.
only benefit you, why are you getting into the space with another person? To punish the person? You can't afford to do life not being able to make adjustments to accommodate another person's schedule, to accommodate another person's goals, because marriage is going to demand of you in terms of sacrifice, in terms of everything you can imagine, emotionally, psychologically, financially, mentally, everyhow. Marriage will demand of you. So if you're not ready for that depth of connection, and you are ready for it and you are seeing these things, run, oh, run, because you'll be walking into danger.
Amazing. So I like that. So even for this, whether it's you, the individual, you need to check for this red flags in you, or even the person you're dating, you are in talking stage, you are in whatever stage, you want to also watch out for this. So in
Yeah.
addition, Oluchi talked about not being teachable, not being open to learn, not being ready to be vulnerable, or those kind of people who deflect any conversation that becomes personal, or it's like going deeper, and they want to maybe laugh it off or bring another conversation to cover it. You want to be saying, what's going on here? And of course, if you can't make space for another person's needs or interests, are they additional you want to put in?
Let me just add one or two. When you are struggling to trust others and to trust the partner you are in a relationship with, due to either past experience or childhood trauma or things the society is conditioning you to believe, because you can't build a formidable and flourishing relationship without a degree and element of trust. So you feel that the other person should trust you, trust your word, trust your behavior, but you suspect them consistently in everything and question even the unnecessary. You can't build a relationship with that. You are not the police in the relationship. And so it's important that if a person is having that insensitivity, you have to know that you have a problem. It's a red flag, definitely. Then they need to control every situation. So whatever shows up, you want to control the person. You want to tell the person who he or she should talk to, where he or she should be, what you expect from him or her. You want to run the person's life to suit your own perception. In fact, you want to turn the person to become like you, which you can never do and will never be. That is a serious red flag, because when you go into the relationship, it's going to be a servant and master relationship. So it's really a red flag. And the challenge is that because you think you deeply love that person, you want to say yes to everything. But how long would that be? So even to the unpleasant thing that will be damaging you, you want to still say yes to them. So that's a very serious red flag too.
Thank you so much for everything that you said. I will just add one more, because remember, we are also trying to remind the young people here of the counterculture of self-interest. This one sometimes appears to be good, but you know that something good can be abused. And what am I saying? It's that part where you become hyper independent. It's a red flag of being self centered when you're not willing to open your space to another person. So maybe you're in a relationship with the person, you don't want anything to do with their money, you don't want anything to do with their whatever. You don't want, I can provide for myself, I can take care of myself. I'm not in this relationship for your money or whatever. Hyper independence is also a red flag, because underneath it is the fear of commitment. Underneath it is the fear of inviting some other person. And I know it can be founded on stories you've heard so that nobody will take advantage of you and all that. But really, everybody who comes to get married wants to feel needed by their partner. So if you wanted to get married to somebody and you want to feel, let him not feel that I'm needing him, let him not feel that she's, then what is the person doing in your life? Marriage is a partnership of connection and sense of belonging. So if actually Nedum doesn't feel like needing for anything, what are we doing? So it's also an area that young people need to watch and be able to know where to do the dance. We are not saying don't build independence so that you have an individuality, but be open to also making your partner feel wanted, feel needed, feel valued, so that it creates the room for the mutual give and take that marriage brings. Ah, and if you're listening to us, you have noticed signs of any of these red flags. You kind of feel that you have this entitlement thing, you don't want to depend on anybody, you are not able to be accountable. You are all of these things that Pastor Kule, Oluchi, Nedum have said, and you don't know what to do to deal with them. Na dem go dey rush you. Personal harmony program for singles is just what you need. It's an 8 weeks program. There we're going to beam the searchlight on you to actually help you die to self, literally, to actually help you choose yourself, because you're going to get to know yourself better, more self-aware. You're going to also identify those areas of your life that you need to kill, and then we will help you kill them with coaching and therapy. You're going to also learn how to be your authentic self. So if you're single, you want to marry right, and you know that preparation for marriage starts from you, please call the number scrolling on the screen now. For everyone who attends LOVEATHON, you get a 20% discount, and it's valid for 72 hours from today. So take advantage of that and really prepare yourself for a marriage that would last. One exercise I like to do as a positive psychology coach is the younger self exercise. So Pastor Kunle has been married for 19 years. We are celebrating 22 years. Oluchi is our senior with 26 years now. So imagine for a moment your younger unmarried self. Think back to that time you were not married. You didn't have any commitment of marriage. You were doing life by yourself. Nobody was telling you don't go where you want to go. Nobody. What will you say to that younger unmarried self about feeling emotionally entitled? I want us to challenge emotional entitlement. Emotional entitlement, rigid, rigid rules, or just that sense of being self-centered that you wish that somebody had told you before you got married. So maybe you want to take on emotional entitlement, you want to take on having rigid rules, or the entire concept of self-centeredness. If you had the benefit of speaking to your younger unmarried self, what would you say to him or her that you wish somebody told you before you got married?
So who goes first?
Please, go ahead, sir.
All right. Well, for me, we thank God for the journey so far and for the kind of things that we were exposed to early enough. But then, I will still say that maybe I'll tell the younger version of me to be more flexible, you know, and maybe that has to do with my own temperament. Of course, I want to dot all the I's, I want to cross all the T's, I want to be sure of what I'm doing, Then, but God actually helped us, early in life, to able to, I mean, we were able to do a number of things. But then, with the benefit of hindsight, maybe to be more flexible, and because for us, I mean, particularly in this generation, we have this group that wants to be sure that everything is set before they get married, so everything does not have to be set, so I'll advise a younger me to be more flexible and also to be more patient, Of course, patience is a virtue, something that every one of us has to embrace. So, but majorly, I'll talk about dwell more on flexibility. So that thank God for the kind of wife I have, and thank God for the journey so far. For some people, maybe if when you are more flexible, the journey becomes smoother. You enjoy more. So unlike someone that is rigid, it has to be this, it has to be that, and sometimes you discover that maybe you overwork yourself. you know, and all in the bid to ensure that everything is set. This is here, that is there, and But in summary, I will say more flexibility.
Fantastic. Be more flexible. Be more flexible. I think you're the second man talking about this on this 22nd wedding anniversary loveathon. We also had Junwo Odutayo give that advice to his younger self. Be more flexible. Madam Oluchi, what would you say to your younger self about feeling emotionally entitled, having rigid rules, or generally being self centered that you wish somebody told you before you got married?
So because I like to connect, I would actually hold her and look her straight in the eyes with all the love I can muster. And I will first of all start by saying that marriage is a journey to becoming. It's not a reward that you get because you are right. It's actually a call to be real. And for emotional connection, if you are entitled emotionally, it will keep you demanding what you are yet to become. Because what happens in marriage is that, you think, particularly if you are my kind of person who likes to dot the I's like Pastor Kunle and cross the T's, you think you already have it all spelled out. One of the things that happens is that it shows up. You are demanding, you'll be entitled for things you have not yet become. Why don't you give room for growth? So again, it bothers on not being rigid. Rigidity would starve love away from your relationship. Being open will give it wings to fly. Being flexible, we give it room to breathe and to walk and to grow organically. But when you are rigid, you are forcing the systems into shape. Why don't you just know that marriage is actually the posture of your heart? It's not about the partner, it's the posture with which you walk into it.
Amazing, amazing. So I hear another: be open. It's a journey. Just breathe and go through it. Okay. Somebody on the chat room says Theophilus Ekere says he would say seek professional counseling or help. Fantastic. Nedum, what would you say to your younger self?
To my younger self, I would say um, openly seek and ask for what you need.
Mm.
Express yourself when you feel inadequate. Don't push up that you can be a matter, you can forgo everything, you can adjust even when it's not adjustable for you. Be direct with what you need and be willing to say it without minding what the person will think about it, because it's a need you feel that can give you the kind of joy, satisfaction you need. And so I think I would tell myself from day one, if you are not getting what you need, be vocal about it. Don't keep quiet. Don't postpone it. Don't think whenever the person is ready, be bold enough to demand for it.
Amazing. And what would I tell my younger self? I think I will start like Oluchi started. I'm going to pull her and give her a big hug. And I'm going to say to her, you see, don't believe everything you hear. Because I think my younger self heard more about marriages not being the intimate expression. My younger
Oh
self
yeah.
heard more about marriage being an obligation you do when you are old enough, and not necessarily the place for experience of deep intimacy. So that's why I'm going to tell her, don't believe everything you hear. Whatever you want to experience,
You
know
can.
that it is possible, whether you know anybody who have experienced it or not. And I think that's what I'm going to tell her. And I'm going to tell her, be quicker to forgive than you are quick to love.
Hmm.
Because once you are able to forgive, you empty your soul of everything that can hinder you as a human being. Let me stop there, because if you leave me and this my younger self, for somebody who already has a practice of talking to younger self, this conversation will not end. So allow me to just end it here. Then I will warn her, do not come into marriage with an homini knowest mentality, because everything you know is not enough. Don't think, because my younger self liked to read books. I had read books on marriage and feels that she was well prepared. I'm not going to tell her that not everything in the book is real, but I'm going to tell her, keep a teachable mind. Do not come into marriage with an homini knowest tendency, that no matter what you think you know, there is still so much to
Something
know.
to know.
And I think it's on this note that I'm going to invite Casey to wrap this up. Because if you leave me with this younger self, we go talk this thing reach 10 o'clock. Casey, over to you.
Wow, 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 wow. This is explosive as always. Very, very explosive. Wow, where do we start from? Younger self. Younger self, I hope you have heard. And the young people in the room, I hope you are hearing. The Omini knows in the room. Are you listening to our leaders? The Omini knows. Marriage will humble you. It will bring you to to elementary classes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. What a time of impact. Let me start from thanking the very revered Oluchi. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your knowledge. We appreciate. We want to say God bless you. God bless you, and God bless you. I always look forward to your sessions because they are always impactful, and you always want your thing the way you want it. So I see all those your traits in your delivery. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Then to Pastor Kayode, am I right?
Only.
Kunle.
Kunle, sorry. Pastor Kunle, thank you so much. Thank you for bringing your wealth of wisdom. We appreciate, we can only but be grateful for the moments you have shared and the deep insights. The truth of the matter is that there's not enough to learn in this work. Every day, every day I log on to these sessions, I always learn something. And thank you for impacting our lives. We're
Thank
still
you.
learning. My marriage is 11 years. So when I see the people in their 20s dropping key points, we are following closely, right? Thank you so much, Pastor Kunle.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate.
Thank you.
And also, thank you to the visionary of Start Your Marriage Right Academy, the one and only Dinma Nedum. Thank you so much for sharing also and impacting to the world. Before we sign out, I would like to remind us one more time for the session of Nadem Go Rush Us or Nadem Go Rush You. which starts on Monday, 28th of July. Um, so it's going to be a singles program, just as you have known, and it's going to run for 8 weeks. 8 weeks. Between the days or the hours of 7 to 9 p.m. every Saturday, West African time. Please, if you know that anything that has been said here today has been impactful, please, you want to learn more, you want to be more prepared. You want to be more prepared. I know that you cannot get all the preparation, but at least it brings light. It brings light your way. It brings light. So please go and register. Please call Ifunaya is already showing on the screen on 003-555-3839. One more time, 003-555-3839. For those of us who are already in the Love a Tone series, you're here now, you're listening to me, you have been partaking, you have a discount of um, 20% that runs for just 72 hours. So I want to encourage you to take advantage of this discount. Go call Ifunaya and reserve your seats so that you can get set and get prepared for this wealth of knowledge. It is on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you, all the viewers, for joining. Thank you for being part of the Start Your Marriage Right Academy. Thank you for being there. Thank you for logging on. We will be coming back the same time next week. We're starting on Saturday, 7 p.m. Please make sure you attend as we continue the Love at Atone series. Is until that time, we will see you better, happier, and living a blissful marriage. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And have a good evening. Good night. Thank you.